testified. They've been exonerated. There have been videos and movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die. They should have the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt. If you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. So we'll leave it at that.
No, they were exonerated. People on both sides. There he goes again. Former President Donald Trump, that was in 2019, refusing to right a 30-year-old wrong when he took out this full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the reinstatement of the death penalty in New York in the wake of the Central Park 5 case. One of the men exonerated in that case, Yusef Salaam, responded with an ad of his own on the day Trump was arraigned in New York last month. And Yusef joins us now. He's a candidate for New York City Council. Mr. Salaam, thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure.
You are jumping into the arena of politics. What drove you there?
All of this. You know, those who have been closest to the pain should have a seat at the table. You know, I've always said that, and, you know, many times you see people marching for justice out in the streets, and it occurred to me that you need to have someone in the halls of power to carry your voice. And most times, we don't have that. We need that kind of leadership that says, I know what it's like to have been there. And of course, I've been run over by the spike wheels of justice. We're talking about 34 years ago. I was 15 years old. And that case is a case that is a stain still on America. Because if the former president can say, well, they had to be guilty of something, they looked at the color of our skin and judged us by it, not the content of our character. And we need voices like mine who can articulate all of the pain points in a way that is meaningful to the average, you know, person in Harlem, you know, the average person in the margins of life.
I don't mean to walk you through the painful time in your life, but I think it's instructive to where you're coming from as you run for office. And can you just speak to what it was like to be sitting in prison for something you absolutely knew you did not do, and to know that so much of the world had made up its mind that you had done that, and you knew you didn't? How did you get through those moments, and how does it motivate you still today?
You know, the biggest challenge of being in prison for a crime you didn't commit is that you constantly have thoughts, well, maybe I should just become this. You know, maybe I should turn into the monster that they're talking about. And of course, the challenge is you're the ingredient that they're trying to get to accept a definition of yourself that you weren't born with. You were born on purpose and with a purpose. And you have to constantly remind yourself every single day. You know, the greats have said things like, if you can't see it, you can't be it. And so in your mind's eye, you have to hold the most positive of thoughts so that wherever your mind goes, your body follows. And of course, while I was in prison, I had to pray often and meditate even more, because praying is talking to God and meditation is listening for the answer. That was the way I got through it, keeping my eyes on the light at the end of the tunnel. And as it got brighter and brighter and brighter, being so thankful that I was able to get through it. And so rather than just going through something, I was able to grow through something.
Mara, you've been out on the campaign trail with Yusef, watched him. You say he's a pretty good retail politician out there on the trail.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. People do know who he is. And, you know, I did have a question, though, for you. When we spent time on the trail together in Harlem last month, you talked to me a little bit about how Donald Trump played an enormous role back in the day during this case in the early 90s, late 80s, in really turning you into what you described as a national pariah. And I think it's so easy for us to kind of paper over some of Donald Trump's behavior, both in office and years before. But I was hoping you could expand on that a little bit and tell us what you mean when you say, you know, he played an enormous role in kind of nationalizing the case at the time. I think people forget that. And this is full circle for you, but I wanted to see if you could expand on that.
Absolutely. You know, in this country, you are, according to the law, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And the worst thing about America is that when it comes to black and brown bodies, at the very inception of this country's creation, it says we the people. Black and brown people were considered 3/5 of a human being. And that has never been ratified. I'm not ratified, never been revisited, never been reformed. We're still seen as that. And so for Donald Trump to have been contemplating and thinking about how do we solve this case, he rushed to judge us. And in rushing to judge us, 2 weeks after we were accused, he had already contemplated, created, and greenlit an article that was placed in New York City's newspapers, really to cause a damaging domino effect. That effect, I think, was to almost be a whisper into the darkest enclaves of society that someone should do to us what they had done to Emmett Till. And so for 2 weeks to go by, and we had not been placed on trial yet, we were accused. He really was the fire starter for everything that happened to us. They were hoping that we died in prison. And if we didn't die, they were hoping that we were given a social death afterwards. And here we are now, able to use the platform that we were given in a really powerful way, not to shrink from society, but rather to say, look, I went through some of the most awful experiences. And rather than becoming a monster, turning into a person that was a recluse, I said, you know what? I need to stand and be counted. And I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say, thank you for standing. Thank you for showing me that there's a way forward. So me running for politics, it's about making sure that we understand as a people that it is not impossible, but that I'm possible, you're possible. We are the heroes of our story. We're fighting for that dash in between our birth and our death. And we have a great, great, great legacy to leave as we do the work. And I'm so thankful to do this work.
So Yusuf, I mean, you were in every way wronged by the system. But as you just said, you're now trying to change the system from within. You're taking part in the process. Walk us through your thought process. How did you get there? How did you make a decision that this is how you were going to try to make a difference?
Far too often, so many people, as you see, all kinds of atrocities, oppressions happening around the country, everyone goes out and marches. And it seems like we still get the same results. Nothing. We need people to be able to say, well, what's the next step? We live in a country that everything happens through the political process. Even if you don't want to believe that, some people don't want to participate, but I can almost guarantee you that non-participation is participation. And so even though I might have been a person, I probably was when I first came home from prison, that didn't want to have anything to do with the system, the more I realized that if I didn't do anything, I would get the same results. I needed to do something. And as I began to think about how can I effectuate the greatest change, not only in my life, in my children's life, but in our people's life, it's through the political process. But you have to remain true to who you are.
Yusuf, I'm sure you, more than any of us, more than most of us, realize that we all live in a country where people take so many things for granted that are unavailable to so many others around the world. And I'm sure you know, because of the life you've lived, that prison, there's a mental aspect to prison, that bars go up around your mind, and some bars stay there for a long time. Could you talk for a minute about how long it took you to adjust yourself to the fact that you could make a phone call whenever you wanted to, that you could walk to the corner store for a newspaper whenever you wanted to, that you could go to the bathroom whenever you wanted to, as opposed to your prison life?
My goodness, you just brought it full circle. I've never thought about it from that perspective. We see movies often where, I think Shawshank Redemption is a good example, where the gentleman wanted to go to the bathroom and he asked permission to go to the bathroom as a free person. When you're awakened to a nightmare like that, it consumes you. 15 years old. I'm 49 now. I had no idea that that would be my plight in life. The day before my greatest thought was, man, am I going to be able to make that ollie that I did on the, I saw the skateboarding and, or, BMX bike and things like that. Just doing cool things, climbing trees, flipping, all of the things that young people do as a part of their childhood. And to have that interrupted, to have that development arrested, I've never been able to restore that kind of hope until now. Because the controlling of your own self and trying to direct yourself in a way that's meaningful is to ensure that all of the narratives that are out there, these narratives are coming after the fact. Right? They say in Newton's third law of motion that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. But when they turn the cameras on at the reaction, people say, oh, those people are crazy. They used to do that to my mother when she was walking in the courtroom with me. They would push her, they would call her things, and then they would turn the camera on and take pictures of her as she responded. And so to be on the other side of that and to realize that you are truly free, to realize that you don't have to ask permission to live life, that your life was gifted to you by the Creator. Oh man, it's so beautiful, but then you realize that there's more work to do because now you have to teach through your example, your children, your family, your people, that they can also be free. Oh man, it's a good thing.
Well said.